Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G. This week we are talking my favorite sport, so it's kind of a little bit of a selfish episode, I know. But this week we've got Tom Cox from golfballs.com. I am super excited to hear about his story, hear about his lessons learned along the way, and just ultimately the world of customization within the golf industry and everything that he's learned as he's grown. But before we get to that, I want to give a big, wonderful shout out and thank you to the amazing sponsors that bring this show to you each and every week. Government Taco, Falaya Real Estate, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, Horizon Financial Group, and you know our outfit of the day is always brought to you by McClavey Limited. Now, without further ado, Tom, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Patty.
Thank you for taking the trek from Lafayette and coming over to Baton Rouge, man. Thank you.
Never a problem getting over that bridge. It's always easy. Glad to be here.
I hear it. I feel a sense of sarcasm in that comment, which anyone who ever travels the Baton Rouge Bridge or the new bridge, right? The 30-year-old new bridge can relate to the difficulties going through that. Yep. But for those that aren't aware, Tom, who are you and what the heck do you do?
So Tom Cox, the husband of an entrepreneur. My wife Susan owns her own business as well. And I have a 5-year-old. We have a 5-year-old named Thomas that is pretty sure he's in charge. So I've got a 2-entrepreneur household with a 5-year-old. About 27, 28 years ago, I had this idea to start selling golf balls on the internet. We called the company golfballs.com, and we have been selling online since that point in time. Pretty steady, pretty consistent growth. And I've said it enough times, and nobody's argued the point. I think we were the first e-commerce business in Louisiana.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know that I don't know that anybody predates 1995.
The only person, then the question is in Louisiana, right?
Yeah,
so it's geographically
in Louisiana and in golf. We're the longest running.
In golf.
We're the longest running online retailer in golf.
Okay, then you've got that. Because I was thinking we've had a past guest, barbecue guys.
Yeah.
And I think they were in the
90s. Was Hackley here or who?
No, we had Jason Steves.
Jason, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
we had, and he came on. Gosh, 2021 at the end of 2020 or the end of 2021, he came on, and we filmed it out at Point Marie. So no, we had Jason come on, and so I think y'all would compete for Louisiana e-commerce, but
they would admit
fields.
we were first to the punch. So we definitely predated those guys. Their growth curve greatly accelerated, greatly exceeded ours over time, though. So great business.
Oh yeah, great. I think it's two different marketplaces, right? Way two different marketplaces. But now I'm curious with. I guess at the time, like for golf, you got to feel it, and like if you want to get fit for a club or you want to hit a ball, like people have that notion of I got to go try it out, right? Where now I think like the industry or the younger generation is getting into it. Like I just need it. Like I'm blowing through 2 cases of balls around.
My dad when I shared the idea and when I said, hey, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to focus on this thing full time. He said, well, why would anybody go to a website and buy golf balls when they can go to a store and do it, right? And so it's kind of funny because to this day, he's got a flip phone that's like 15 years old. He's never used the internet before. No. But he asked the right question, though, right? Like we have to do something different, and we have to sell something that gives customers a reason to keep coming back to us. If it's something easy to find anywhere, it will become a commodity, and commodities it's a race to the bottom with price. And so that's kind of he doesn't know it. I wouldn't give him credit for that, but of course, but we always try to do things that you just can't get in a store or do things differently than other people can produce. So that's kind of where the customization comes in.
So how did you first start this endeavor? I mean, you've got pushback from your parents, obviously, saying that no one's ever going to go and buy golf balls online. It's a dumb idea. But your wife being an entrepreneur, was she an entrepreneur at the time? Were y'all married?
So,
what's the
so
scope
she's
of the
a bit
lane?
younger than me. I would say that she was like 12 when I started golfballs.com. So she's a good bit. She's a fair bit younger than me. So the idea for the business. So I was right in college, I was working at a country club. I became a country club manager, but my hobby was always technology and computers. And so when the internet came along in the early 90s, I started spending as much time as I could learning about the internet technologies and it just seemed really clear to me. Like it was just obvious to me. It was going to be email, then it was going to be video, and then it was going to be communication, and it was going to be commerce. And it just seemed obvious that every year people were going to be doing more things and buying more things online. And so there was one week maybe it was like October of 95 when I had a meeting with a web developer who became my one of the founders of golfballs.com, to build a website for the country club that I was running. And then that same week I had a meeting with some divers that dive in the ponds to pull the balls you weren't supposed to take out of the ditch, to pull the balls out of the ponds at the country club. And they would buy the balls from us. That's just kind of how it works. Or and I got the idea to combine the two. I talked to the web developer and said, "Can you build an e-commerce website?" And I talked to the divers and said, "Do you guys have enough inventory to start filling orders if we built a website to start selling used golf balls?" And so, by early '96, we had launched the website and started selling used golf balls online. We quickly got out of the used ball business, and started focusing on customized products. But that's how it got started. So I was in the golf business, technology hobbyist, passion, and the internet came along, and I said, "Ooh, this is going to be pretty good. This is going to be exciting." And so I was able to marry two things that I knew and really enjoyed to start the business.
So, I mean, at the time, was it even called e-commerce shops? Was there a term for it? I mean, with the internet being so new, I feel like it would just be, how do you even start?
So I remember, like, even a year after we started the business, if I would hear the word internet, somebody speaking about the internet, like in a restaurant, it was kind of a big deal. So it was a very, there was nothing mainstream about e-commerce in 1996. But what it did for us is our first year was 17,000 in sales. 1996, 17,000. Well, it's incredibly small, but it's a proof of concept, right? Like not
first year.
Look, it's a proof of concept. And then year 2, it was 70,000 in sales. In year 3, it was 200,000 in sales. And then, like, I've still got a full-time job going, and so this is like my part-time gig, and something had to give.
And this is still a used ball market.
This at that point, really in year 3 was when we started shifting to so it was like 98, 99 that we started selling customized products, new products and customized products. So we got started phasing out of the used ball business. But I kind of said, this is a hobby gone awry. And so it either had to be a business, or it had to be sold to somebody. And we ended up, previously we operated under several other domain names, but in 98 we bought the domain. I raised some capital, raised some money for the business, and I became full-time just doing that.
So
and that was it.
I'm genuinely curious. You don't have to answer. How much did you pay for the domain name?
$9,500.
That's it?
Yep. So in 98, we bought it from a Canadian person or company on the secondary market for $9,500. We thought it was, but go back, right? Like
that's pretty high for that time.
Nobody knew the value of domains in 1997, right?
Yeah.
Like it could have been like an AOL marketplace world. I don't even know if you remember.
I know AOL.
Okay, all right.
I know AOL.
You probably barely know AOL, but your parents probably do. Your parents probably do. So nobody knew how it was going to go. So spending $10,000 on a domain, but for what we did, it was spot on.
Right.
And then as it became obvious that domains were important, 2 years later we bought the domain golfball.com for $50,000. And so even that is like a bargain. And so it's I don't know what they'd be worth today, but it's not like we can't really decouple them from the business. So it's kind of baked into it's baked into the business. And so part of the reason that we knew we had to buy that is we had raised some capital, and the local newspaper ran a front page business story. Golfball.com scores an ace. Golfball.com. Well, that's not our name.
That's not even the company's name.
That's not even the company's name. We said, ooh, okay, this is going to be a problem. Yeah. How many people hear one thing and type another? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of been a lesson. That was an early lesson that the domain, singular and plural, is important. But having both was important for us. But that same rule applies to any business brand name, particularly if it's online.
Yeah, especially learning real quickly about redirects, I'm sure. Yeah. How do we redirect everybody?
We did.
From that.
Yeah.
So moving into the customization side,
yep.
I mean, you first started off with divers getting recycled balls,
yep.
which now has started to become a bigger business for people via the source of Amazon and all that
yep.
other stuff that we'll get to. But how did you connect with a manufacturer to start? Like, was customizing balls a thing at the time? Did you kind of spearhead that
we
direction?
Sort of snuck in the back door with our vendor accounts. So having a country club relationship through a country club, we had some pre-existing relationships with all of the big brands in golf, and so we just started using that account to place orders with them, and eventually we transitioned to direct accounts with the manufacturers. And so customization in '98 was but before we started doing 1 dozen at a time. And customization was ordering 48 dozen with your logo on it.
48 dozen?
48 dozen. Like that was the customization space before we didn't invent the customization space. We just brought the minimums from 48 dozen or 24 dozen to 1. Right. So we were able to kind of leverage technology and printing techniques to continue to drive that minimum down. So that now we're able to offer. We can customize. We've got a partnership with Zazzle. We print a sleeve at a time. So if you want if you want 3 balls printed with something unique on it, we're able to do that as efficiently as we can print 100 dozen golf balls. And so it's kind of a combination. It's a software technology and printing equipment technology that we've kind of developed to be able to enable that. But kind of back to the space, it was really you could get pretty much anything you wanted with a logo on it. It was a long turnaround time and you had to place that order with the manufacturer. That was pretty much the state of the industry. So that's how we started. We quickly bought some printing pad printing equipment and started doing it ourselves. And then we bought some state-of-the-art equipment that used a laser to burn a plate more quickly and more efficiently. And then over the last 15 years, we've transitioned to digital printing. So that's kind of the transition. And digital's made everything a lot more efficient.
Yeah, now y'all can do like the little packs that you've got on the table here, the set of like customization, whether it be for anything, company or personal matters. It's that small of a package can be personalized.
So we during the Christmas holidays we were probably printing 250 sets like that a day, each of which had 6 balls printed, poker chips printed, divot tool printed, and tees printed. It's our secret sauce is the software that allows us to kind of handle multiple products and multiple paths with multiple images on it. And
that's incredible to see how far that's developed from 20-something years with burning the plates and doing. I'm sure to do it had to be. I mean, again, we talk about economies of scale. When you got to get the 48 dozen balls, now you can do 3.
Right.
Just able to do that is so insane.
And it's a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's been that and speed. We looked at some numbers last week, and I think our average turnaround time was about a day and a half or 2 days from the time that, if it's a consumer order, it's about 2 days until it ships. For a corporate order, it's a little bit longer than that because there's normally some back and forth. We have people involved in that process. We want to get the logo right because it's a larger order. But then once it gets injected into our system, it's a day or two before it gets printed.
Yeah, so it's
as fast as you want it.
Exactly, I was about to get there. Like for the corporate orders, you've got here's first proof. All right, pass it up your chain. Okay, they want these revisions. All right, here's the second proof. Pass it up the chain. And for them, it's 2 weeks. They need it in 4 months, so they're already ordering everything.
Yep. So I'll step back just a minute. About half of our business is B2B, customized for tournaments or for businesses or for golf outings. And the other half of our businesses we consider B2C, and that's golfers buying for themselves or individuals buying a gift for someone. So those are the B2B segment is high service because we definitely don't want to get it right because it's somebody's logo. And the B2C is really a self-service online. You proof it yourself. You see the visualization, and your order goes through automatically.
And I've been on there and done the customization. It's very simple and it's very easy to walk through, uploading your file, adjusting everything, and then if you're doing just text, typing out your text and getting it ordered that way, it's very simple and easy to use in comparison to some other options that are out there.
Thank you for saying that. We work really hard at usability, and we believe less is more. We also believe that software shouldn't need instructions. And so we have been building user-friendly websites for 28 years. We've taken that same approach, kind of highly visual, highly, really easy, intuitive to use. And we have developed all of our internal workflow software with visual cues throughout the process. So it's kind of a website turned inward to our business that makes our production workflow a lot more accurate than I would say most systems do.
Yeah, and it makes it so like I've done both sides. I've gone through Amazon for customization. I'm going through golfballs.com for customization, and y'all's process is almost like looking at like an Apple computer. It's like designed for the end user, designed for the customer, as opposed to Amazon. They're working on just get it. We're going to make it look okay, and you don't get to proof it at the end of the day. Whereas y'all's, you have so many different options of customization. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so super simple, easy to use.
There are so many things we could include that we do not, so that it remains a simple process for users. Like we could have 500 font options that you could use to select for your text on your golf ball.
Right.
But instead we have like maybe 6 or 5 because 500. Some people may think that's giving customers more choices. We view it as complexity, and people will freeze up if given too many choices in a situation like that.
Yeah, and it's
paradox of choice.
Exactly. It gives them way too many options, and then your time from starting the order to completing the order goes from 5 minutes to 5 hours because there are just so many different fonts and options, but you also have the catch-all by being able to upload a JPEG or whatever file you need to, and then that's the file that's going to be printed. So if you've got your certain font that you have to maintain, you just need an image of it or something, and then you can upload it, and that's what's going to be printed. So it's like here's your 6, but then here's your catch-all.
You can get it however you want. You just have to upload it, or you have to order enough, and our artists will do it for you.
Oh, okay, so you have that option as well.
Yeah, we have several graphic artists that work with our corporate team. We call it corporate team, but some individuals go through that path as well. And if you don't know exactly what you want, they can help you with that.
So you're getting everybody in every level.
Everybody in golf. Golf balls are consumable, highly consumable, as I think anybody would admit.
Yes.
And so we feel like we're in a really nice spot in the business. People like things customized, and golf balls are a consumable. We don't just sell balls. We sell like a full range of golf products, shoes, gloves, bags, the works, but we kind of lead out with golf balls, and over 80% of what we sell now, and it's growing every year, is customized. So our market position is customization.
Yeah, I was about to say y'all do a lot more than golf balls, which I want to get to, but I want to go back a little bit further to when y'all were making them yourselves.
Okay.
So you had the experience with the manufacturers and dealing with that, being the manager on the golf course, but customization, that's managing a golf course, customizing products, two very different things. What was that like going through the decision to take that in-house?
We felt like it was a natural evolution for the business and the industry, and it was what it was going to take to be different than everyone else in the market. We kind of felt like people would be willing to pay a premium to have something printed in a 1 configuration just the way they want, and that they'd be willing to pay for that, and that no one else, you can't get that in a retail store. So we were trying to differentiate from retail stores early on. That's an easy way because there's no printers in retail stores, right? And so we kind of had open season on a lot of 1 low minimum customization for a while. As the manufacturers began to lower their minimums and offer that to our competition, we had to come up with new and different types of creative products and imagery that would differentiate us, and speed to continue to differentiate us from what's available in the market. So having a website was differentiated at first because it wasn't a store. Selling online was different, and then as Amazon has kind of eaten all of the commodities, all the commodity products, and driven the price down. It's good for the consumer,
right?
But it's difficult for online businesses that don't have proprietary product or a differentiator. So as Amazon became more of a force in online retail, stores were less important. Competing with Amazon became more important, and our differentiated, customized products became even a stronger part of our business.
So on that same topic, did y'all explore selling on Amazon, or was it always we got to get the customers driven back to our website?
So we were one of their first 2 golf merchants in their sporting goods, and I remember the discussion. And I'm friends with the guy today that was the category manager. He said, "We have no plans to build direct relationships with manufacturers and buy and resell," which obviously a lot has changed in that,
right,
in that 20 years. But what we focus on, so we sold a lot of product on Amazon. As a percentage of our business, it's like 1 to 2% now. Let me think about that. Probably 1 to 2% now. We are focused on selling customized products on Amazon now, though. So Amazon, as you know, has a customization engine. We have kind of adapted our process to their customization engine, and so if you buy customized golf balls on Amazon, there is a good chance you're buying them from us.
Okay.
So you would get the shipment. You would likely get the shipment from golfballs.com. I think we in all likelihood we're greater than probably 60 or 70% of the customized balls that are sold on Amazon.
Gotcha.
I think they don't tell me, so but I
they don't let you know.
They don't let me know, but I think that's about right.
Okay, well, even then, it's still not the same as what y'all have on the website, because they probably give you a certain set of parameters to work within.
It's text on a ball, or it's a photo upload on a ball, and we've got a half a dozen other cool things, including licensed teams and all kinds of stuff that you can get on golf balls.
Gotcha. So when did y'all decide to kind of move beyond the name into different product categories?
So we when we moved from New Iberia to Lafayette in, I think it was 2004, we opened a store. We opened the store in part because it made our brands feel better, our manufacturers feel better. If you can't, it's hard to go. It's hard. Most people in this room can't go back to 2004 and have too many clear thoughts about that. It was a long time ago, but in 2004, the world had just recovered from the .com bust, and there was a lot of questions around e-commerce businesses because so many of them had gone out of business. One of the things that added credibility to your business, or in particular in golf, if you had a store, you were more legitimate, a storefront, than if you were an e-commerce only business. And so we had the inventory, much of the inventory anyway. We moved into the new location. Part of the new location was a retail store, and as long as we were going to have the inventory, we might as well put that inventory online. And so it's a small, clubs and shoes, and it's a small part of what we sell, but it's a big part of what we sell in the retail store. It's if you walk in our retail store, it's like any retail, most retail golf stores that you would walk in. We carry that same selection. But if you notice, if you watch the Golf Channel, and something tells me you do,
yeah,
you probably watch. Did you watch Tiger recently? Maybe,
yes.
maybe. Yeah,
yes.
I
At the Genesis Invitational.
I was kind of glued to the TV too.
Yeah,
we had some commercials. Anyway, just back to the story. Our commercials, we always lead out with customized golf balls because it's what we do different, and it's what we do, and it's what we want to be known in the golfing community as a place to go for customized golf balls and kind of also golf balls, but also leading out with customization because it's different.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what people are now. Like it used to be for your corporate companies. They would want to. That's how they're branding their promotion. They go to a golf tournament, they'll put that out there. And now it's almost as if customization is so much a gift option, and then it becomes a gag gift option, and then it becomes a bachelor party option, and then it keeps on carrying on with how and when should you customize a ball, to where now it's like I'm going visit some family and friends. They're good golf, they love playing golf. I'm bring them some customized balls, whether it's thank you or
Why would you ever, like, we want people to think, why would you ever gift with a blank golf ball?
Right.
Like why would you ever do that? Right. And you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You should feel bad if you do. I'm just saying, you should feel bad.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, my wife, and she probably bought it from golfballs.com, gave me some customized golf balls for like one of the first years the show was created. I don't know if it was through Amazon or where she ordered it from, but it was text customized golf balls. And I opened them up and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Mm-hmm. And it was
just don't knock them through a window. So don't break somebody's window with it. Because they'll know.
I have not broken a window on any golf course ever.
Yep.
So going into the towel game and everything of that nature, going into the clubs, I mean, y'all don't carry all this in actual inventory, do y'all?
We do.
Okay.
So we carry a lot of golf balls, as you might imagine.
Right.
But we carry probably twice the amount of inventory that you would think we would need for a retail store. And so that services most of our online business. Some of the products that we sell, if it's a custom shaft on a driver, we may not stock that. We will, like, there are 1,000 different ways that you can configure a driver, right? So many of those would be drop shipped.
Okay.
Shoes, we kind of carry a baseline selection. Some of the shoes that we carry are online would be drop shipped, right? So it's kind of a combination for the non kind of core customized products that we sell. Some of the others would be drop shipped, but we do stock plenty of it.
Okay.
In house.
I was about to say, I was perusing like the Callaway website the other day, and there's just you can now customize everything from your grip to your shaft to there's so much customization within the world of golf. It's almost unreal at this point that anybody would be able to maintain an inventory like that without being a manufacturer.
Right.
So going back to getting the balls in the used ball market, did you actually do any of the diving yourself?
I have friends that swear that they saw me diving in the ponds, but I don't even know how to dive in a pond. Like, I can swim, but I would, I wouldn't know what to do. So no, I've never lost a golf cart in a pond. I've never slid in a pond before, and I've never tried to retrieve golf balls from a pond. But we worked with many companies early on in the business to do that.
Because it isn't like, it's crazy how many balls are in those small ponds that are pulled out that people don't even, I guess, realize driving by. That's a very small pond's probably nothing in there, but just the bottom of it, just nothing.
And then you see the crafty old guys with like some type of gadget that they throw in the pond to rake balls. Mm-hmm. They're never going to buy balls. They never have to buy balls. They're on the back of the golf course on a pond, and they're pulling the used balls out.
So you said earlier that I shouldn't have been pulling the balls out of the ditch. Is it not allowed to harvest, collect golf balls from hazards?
So you're free to do what you would like to do. I would say that in your rules, in the club rules and regulations, they would probably say that you're not you can pull your own ball out, but you're not able to pull mass, batches of balls out of our ponds. It's our private property, and we get money for the they try to monetize that. But if you don't get caught, right? You didn't get caught.
Well, I mean, but at that point, you even do it,
Yeah, right. Well, they could have been your balls. You could have. Those
That's
were
right.
actually my balls.
Look, if I however many balls I've hit in those water, I could never pull out enough as I'm putting in.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
That's a fair argument.
Yeah.
A fair argument.
How many sleeves of balls am I going through in just
Yeah.
one hole? Because that water hazard's such a mental game.
Yep.
To hit over it or hit around it, it's insane.
Yep. I have that problem too.
You sit down, you try to find your spot that you're going to hit your ball. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you put your head down, you go, there's water, and you swing and you go, yeah, I found the water.
Yep.
So going back to finding new products and everything, do y'all go to trade shows?
We do. Every year, we went this year. COVID years, we didn't go to any trade shows, but the big show that we go to is the annual PGA show in Orlando. It's the global golf show for people that sell into the golf industry and people that buy. We don't have a booth because we don't really sell to golf pros or people that resell per se, but it's where we explore, look for new products, build relationships with our vendors, and that's the show that we go to. We also go to print shows where we might learn about new printing techniques or new machinery that's available in the market. We haven't been to a print show in a couple of years, but we used to go. Normally, we'll go once a year just to see what's new, to see if there's some type of new customization that we might want to offer. And customization could be on the outside of a box. Customization, I think packaging is going to be an interesting way for us to do more customization over time and differentiate. It'll mean a capital investment in some equipment, but I think packaging could be if you're going to give somebody a sleeve of golf balls with your logo or something cool on it, if you can make the sleeve that you're giving it to them in look really cool and customized, I think that who knows where this is going to go, but that could be in the roadmap.
Right, because customizing the sleeve, that's a whole different animal at that point.
It's a different print process, but we'd have to develop that competency. But we probably wouldn't do a sleeve. Well, we might do a sleeve, but we'd probably do a dozen. But it would follow the theme. It would follow a theme that would make giving it away, and the packaging as cool as the balls with the messaging on it.
Right, because at that point, do you consider yourself more in the promotional industry, or is it more for the golfers industry?
Yeah, it's half and half. It's about half and half. Big orders for businesses and events and tournaments, and smaller orders for individual golfers and gift buyers. Those are really the two positions of the business.
So, and do y'all work with tournaments like within the PGA Tour, within other tours? Do y'all have tournaments that will actually order customized balls for players, or for whatever reason, or is it generally just companies going to tournaments that will order the balls?
It's I think most, if you think about PGA Tour events, most of those have direct relationships with manufacturers. They've got a tournament organization. That organization interfaces directly with all of the same manufacturers that we do. If they want it done in a way that we uniquely offer, then we may get that business sometimes. It's more a fundraising golf tournament, or a corporate outing, or a business that's going to a trade show that they know that people are excited about the game of golf and they want to give away sleeves of golf balls. We do shirts with logos. It's not the big PGA Tour events that we support, but it's any step down from there all the way to a foursome of buddies going on a weekend trip that want to have a theme for their weekend get together.
I've been a part of those foursomes. Done some charity golf tournaments where it'd be cool to show up to the course with custom hats and custom shirts.
If you're going to travel to play golf, you need to commemorate it with golf balls, right? Like,
Absolutely. Look, and party of four,
Yeah.
like, come on, you have the golf pun names. It's perfect.
Yep.
So when did you realize that what you were doing was no longer like a small business? I know you said your first year was 17, then 70, then 200. At what
Right.
point did you recognize, oh my gosh, this is actually going to be a successful business?
So it was when I had to make the decision to stop being involved in the other businesses other things that I was doing and focus on this. And this was kind of like in the 98, 99 time frame. I had some other business interests that I was involved in, and kind of decided I had a web development firm, an interest in a limousine company, some other entrepreneurial things, and when this one stuck, I realized I really need to, if I'm going to do it, I really need this. This is the one that has the greatest potential, and that I am most uniquely suited to be successful with. Right? Like, I don't. My background and my skill, I don't need to run a limousine company, and like building an e-commerce golf business, I felt like I was uniquely suited and positioned to be successful in, because of my background.
Right. Having the course history and
Yep.
everything. I mean, so how were those conversations? Did you have business partners in the other entities that you had to have difficult conversations with? What was that like, telling them I'm stepping away?
They were all pretty small, and
Okay.
it was just an obvious next step. It was only difficult in that I was used to having a job, and when you make that transition from like a 9 to 5 completely to a, hey, if this thing works, great. If it doesn't work, it's not great.
Right.
And for a lot of reasons, you have to be ready for that. But it's the circumstance, and it's what every entrepreneur has to deal with, and has to address. Otherwise, you can't be an entrepreneur, and you can't start a small business, right? You can start it in its infancy, but at some point you have to kind of cut the cord. Or you can kind of have a side gig. A lot of people have side gigs, and that's fine. But if you're really onto something, and you're the right person to lead it, you have to give it all your effort.
And were there ever times where you were uncertain that you made that right call to cut the cord?
There were times when I used to live at the country club that I managed, and that I'm like, I'm watching the guys cut the grass, and I'm thinking, I wish I was cutting grass today, like, because everybody does. Like, everybody that starts a business, every entrepreneur goes through, it cycles up and it cycles down, and you have challenges, and you have to overcome challenges, or you wind down the business and you move on to a new challenge, or you wind down the business and you say, man, this entrepreneur thing's not right for me. I think I want to work for somebody else, and it's not right for everybody. But there were, all businesses have cycles. Golfballs.com has been no different. There have been, particularly early on in the .com crash, there's always times when you question, should I have made this decision? And looking back today, it was the right decision.
So, and how was it for y'all going through that .com crash?
Yeah. Like, it sounds funny to say, but there were literally board level discussions, and this was going on all over the country. I think we need to take .com out of our name.
Like, replace it with what?
I don't know. Like that, it was, anyway, it was, there was such negativity around .com, because there had been such hype around it that among the investment community, and like there were businesses that were obviously .com businesses, that they were like stripping the .com off the back of it so that they wouldn't be associated with kind of the mess that was the crash. Anyway, we kind of stuck to it, and it turned out having .com in your name is not a bad thing.
Right. I was about to say, you've been around for a while.
It turned out that way. Yeah.
But I mean, at the time, it's, everybody probably in the room may not have been around in such capacity as you were at the time, going through the .com bust. But it's thinking back of, okay, we had to change our name because of what's happening across the globe. Like
Yeah.
that thought process has now
It's
become
a
relevant to like since COVID, right?
Yeah, it's a reasonable discussion to have, right? It's not an unreasonable discussion. Our business name is so core to what we do. Like if you see our commercial on Golf Channel, it's easy to remember because it's the product that we sell and it's where you go to buy it. Like I think we have additional leverage with our media because what we do, what we sell, and where you buy it is just so easy to remember. Where do I buy my golf balls? My customized golf balls, golfballs.com. Like it's just it just fits together, and I think it makes for a better connection when somebody sees our commercials. By the time they're ready to buy, they may remember it should be pretty easy for them to remember that they saw the products on golfballs.com.
Well, I'm sure now with all the Google rankings and the SEO, if anybody types in customized golf balls, y'all gonna be the number one hit.
We do our very best to be at the top for natural and paid, where it makes sense. And Google does their best to make sure that none of the natural listings see the light of day. I'm sure I'm not the first. I'm not, if you're number one in natural search on Google now, it doesn't mean what it used to.
No, well now I feel like it's set up so if you Google something, you have to actually scroll down before you find a natural listing. Yeah. Because they've got 5 or 6 ads, and so it's ad, organic, and it's like, what am I even? I have to sift through now to find something organic and natural, or knowing that people pay by click on Google. Yeah. If it's somebody who I'm like, I'm going to click on this website several times and get your pay per click.
I try to be a considerate shopper.
Yes.
And if I'm looking for something, I try, and I see the company name, I avoid the paid clicks, and I go to the natural listings. I just try to be considerate in that way.
And if I've seen some where I've Googled a search term and they've been like, they're paid, and then 2 or 3 down it's their natural, and I go the same route. I'm like, all right, I'm buying something from this person. I'm going to be considerate. I'm not going to make you pay that 75 cents or $1.50 or $5, whatever the term was, however much you paid for it. I'm not going to make you pay for that. I'm just going to go to your organic click. And from an ad spend, that can make an impact if you have thousands of people doing that a day, not doing that click.
Well, our 2 biggest buckets of advertising, one is Golf Channel and the other is paid search. And so those are the biggest drivers, the biggest source of new business that we have. And we measure it. I'm sure you've had other guests on here that sell online. We measure it as granularly as we can, and we try to measure everything to a positive return on investment. So if we spend $1, we try to generate 5 or 7 times that dollar for every dollar that we spend in a particular media channel.
So how do y'all track? Because I'm always curious from a TV side of things with the Golf Channel. How are y'all able to track that return?
It's really hard. And so I'll give you a funny example. In year 1, we had a baseline. The first year we did it, we were able to track it using Google Analytics because we had never done it before. And there was no prior year comparison to. Are you familiar with Google
Yep.
GA? Okay, so it buckets into other or non. It's in kind of the non-tracked traffic, and then it buckets into your paid and your natural and natural search terms. So when I'll give you an example. I watched the Genesis. You watched the Genesis. We thought we were only going to have like 3 commercials during tournament play. We ended up with like 6 or 8. And when Tiger was on the course and those commercials ran, I'm like jumping in front of GA going, all right, I'm watching real time, watch the numbers go up. And then you see what it does. It doesn't just drive traffic, direct traffic to the website. It drives all of the channels. So because people are going online and they're searching, they're just because they see golfballs.com doesn't mean that they're going to go and they're going to type golfballs.com.
Right.
Quite often they do, and they get hijacked by a search, and they click the natural or the paid search, and so it's kind of a combination. It's a combination of those. To answer your question, we were able to track it very well in year one. It was a very positive comp, and it's been more difficult to track. But when we have times like the last week when Tiger's on the course and everyone's watching and our commercial runs on Golf Channel, we just know it works.
you're able to go look at those time frames.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
I guess for a tournament, like for tournaments, you can run the time. Okay, when
they teed
off.
You can track it at a very granular level. It's not as exact as the pay-per-click stuff.
Right.
But you can get pretty close.
Yeah, I'm sure the more and more tournaments, you're like, hey, who's playing this week? Okay,
it was a surprise. We had our plan lined up before Tiger announced that he was playing, so it was kind of like a big upside surprise. It was an upside surprise for everybody in golf.
So did they sell
that he made the cut was a big deal too.
Oh, I know. He played through the weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if we can get into the negotiation side with the Golf Channel.
Yep.
Are they selling you on who's going to play that weekend? And if so, did they sell you at a discount before Tiger announced, and did they charge a premium after Tiger announced? How does that work?
So there isn't. I wouldn't say anything's discounted. It's the Golf Channel.
Yeah.
I would say, generally speaking, when you buy TV, you're buying reach, and you're buying an estimated number of eyeballs that they're going to be reaching in any given period of time. That's kind of how it works. And even though we have a really nice upside for that particular week, it's all baked into the overall exposures that we buy.
Gotcha.
And the commercials that we buy.
So they're saying you're going to do a package of tournaments and whatever
it's
those
not
tournaments
turn into. Yeah, it's not just tournaments for us. It's we tell them in particular times where we do want to run and when we don't want to run, and they have and they have flexibility to place it.
Yeah, and how has that become impacted with like the streaming channels now, like with Hulu and with all those other channels where people can watch golf? Is there any change at all, or is you now having to work out deals with them because they're running their own ads?
So we have. I use Fubo TV. I don't know if you're familiar with it at all.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and Fubo runs Golf Channel. So
Okay.
so it's got the exact same commercials that run on the Golf Channel. Not every sling is probably a different. Hulu's probably different. All of them probably have different. We have not started to buy digital streaming separate from Golf Channel. So it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us. Golf Channel's still got a lot of reach.
Oh yeah,
it's got a lot of reach.
Golf Channel's like, we know your people are going to be here, and we're just going to sit back and say whenever you want to come.
Yeah,
we've built it. They are here. They're coming.
They have the best golf. They have the biggest reach, the best golf audience.
Yeah. Well, and now you've got so many people taking that and making like golf channels to be used on social media, like on YouTube,
Yep.
on TikTok, Instagram. And you've got people that are making specific channels and they're just playing golf and filming it. And now it's like almost decentralizing the golf world where
it is.
People now have golf podcasts where they just talk about the game of golf or they'll go play a round, they'll sit down, and they'll just talk about the round, and people will consume so much of that.
I know. I'll tell you that's an area that we have not. It's very difficult to measure and to generate positive ROI on that type of an expense, and to scale that type of expense. I'll be the first to admit we're not great at it, and we have not committed a lot resources to be great at social at this point. It's in our roadmap. We'll be great at it one day. We're just not great at it right now. We're really good at email marketing, TV and pay-per-click. And so as an entrepreneur, you have to know where you're good and where you're not. And so, at least we think we know where we're good and where we're not. We may be wrong, but
I'd say you're doing pretty well with what you're doing so far.
In the areas where we have competency, I think we try to do well.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me to see kind of like an age shift of when people are starting to get introduced to golf, and that age demographic is like starting to get younger and younger over the years. And I'm sure, especially since the pandemic, y'all have probably seen just an upscale in actual people starting to play golf. Like more and more people are picking up the sport.
I'll give you a couple of data points. One related to golf rounds in COVID, and the other related to Top Golf and on course golf. Okay. So COVID ushered in a new surge of golfers in America, probably around the world, but that's not our market, specifically in America. The interesting thing is that so many industries saw a COVID spike and then a dip following the COVID spike. Golf had a COVID spike, and then it just kept going, and then it just kept going, and then it's like 2 years. You've got just as many or more golfers playing about the same number of rounds as that COVID spike, as the year of the COVID spiked. Outdoor social distancing, golf is king. I've got more free time on my hands.
Played many rounds of free golf that we walked the course, and we brought our wives, and they were bringing the coolers, and we played many rounds of those.
I'm sure. And so the interesting thing that's happened is part of the stickiness of people entering golf. One is they really enjoy it, and it has brought a lot of new people into the game. But Top Golf has introduced non-golfers to golf, young people in particular to golf in a way that's kind of in their environment, in a cool place where it's fun. And there has been a direct matriculation from first-time Top Golf golfers to on-course golfers. So you've kind of now got, with Top Golf and the growth of that, which who doesn't love Top Golf? It's like,
right.
how much there's a Top Golf opening 3 minutes from my house.
I was going to say, there's one that's coming to y'all's area.
I can't wait. It's going to be guaranteed my kid is going to love golf because we're going to go to Top Golf, and he's just going to have a ball with it. And I guaranteed I'm going to somehow manage to get that to get that joy onto the golf course. Well, Top Golf has helped kind of maintain and grow the golfer base when there would normally have been some down matriculation. We just haven't seen that matriculation. So the future of the golf industry we think is very strong. COVID helped, but Top Golf is like a feeder system to from off course to on course, and introducing people to the game in a way that it's fun.
Well, and also getting people to play it in tournament style.
It's not intimidating, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing intimidating about Top Golf, and it kind of gamifies. It gamifies a traditional sport that you could say has a set of rules that is a little stodgy, right? I hope my friends at the USGA don't, but it's from a kid's point of view, it might not be as loose as they'd like, but Top Golf is the bridge.
Right. They won't let me grab my ball, hit in the water, and I found, and say, "Oh, I found my ball. It's the time. I don't have to take a penalty stroke. I can keep playing at the same strokes." No, you got you got a set of rules that are bound and rigid, and you have to play within them. Whereas Top Golf just hit the ball.
Yep.
And if you make it in one of the little targets, you get more points.
Yep.
And that's it. There's no other set of rules that you have to adhere to, which 100% is increasing those people's desire to go, let me go try this outdoors on a nice, beautiful day, getting able to be outside and playing and walking a little bit and getting some exercise.
And once you make that, if you develop any kind of a game at Top Golf and you take that to a golf course, and your first time out isn't a disaster, because everybody's first time out, if you haven't had some range time, is just not going to be fun.
Right.
It's just not. It's much more fun if you have some preparation ahead of time. And I think that helps. That certainly helps as well. It helps with fun leading up to it, and that fun extends to their first round on course.
And if you play a lot of Top Golf and you're very good at it, you'll probably be pretty good on a course, depending on what the style of gameplay that you use at Top Golf. If you're playing certain colors you've got to hit, you got to work on your aim, which is ultimately going to help, hopefully, on the course.
Yep.
So as we start to kind of wind down the show, Tom, we
Okay.
have a set list of questions we like to ask everybody. So the first one is, what is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
One of my favorite things to do, and it was in high school, I was on the debate team, and I just loved it.
Same.
I loved every bit of it. If there was an adult debate team, well, there is. It's being a lawyer. I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and then my entrepreneur gene activated and took me out of, like, I was studying for the LSAT, and I thought I was going to do that, and then the business entrepreneur gene kicked in and kind of derailed that. And it turns out that was a good thing for me. Yeah,
Right call.
but to answer your question, I loved being on the debate team, and I loved debate. I just enjoyed. So you were on the.
I was So I was on the homeschool debate team because I was homeschooled through high school, and we would compete around the country at different tournaments. And yes, absolutely.
How much fun was that?
It was. So we did team policy style debate.
Okay.
So we debated policies in teams of 2, and I loved it.
That's what. So I don't know what it's called now, but it was like ACX. It was like you could cross. It was same. It was a 2-man team, 2-person team,
Yep.
and you would have a topic. The topic would run for the full year, and I just loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It's the same exact style that we had.
Just loved it.
And you'd have like your constructive speeches. You'd have a cross examination after that first constructive speech, and it took a year and a half before someone went to a tournament that was in Baton Rouge, and they watched me debate, and they were like, "So, like, what are you reading off of? Whenever you get up there, like, I know, like, you give these 8-minute long speeches. How do you know who you're going to compete against and what you have to say?" And I said, "We don't have anything really prepared. We've done research on the broader topic, and we generally know what people's cases are, and then everything else that's all ad lib. We're just responding directly to what they've got and supporting it with evidence. There's no pre-written anything except for the first speech." And it blew their mind, like, "Whoa. You mean all this stuff isn't prepared?" I'm like, no, none of this stuff is prepared except the very first speech.
You have to do it on the fly.
Yeah, and I think it's
in a tight time frame.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
2 minutes of prep for the whole round.
Yeah, I loved it.
I love that about you now. So
same here, man.
So you've gone through a lot over the last 20 some odd years.
Yep.
And you've had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of business changes and adaptations. What are 3 lessons that you have learned over time?
So one is people. People are the most important part of your business. Period. End of story. If 55-year-old Tom could talk to 20-something-year-old Tom, he would say, spend most of your time hiring and cultivating great people in your organization. Now, I have a great team now. I can't speak highly enough about our leadership organization. I've got some longtime employees, some relatively new team members, a great deep bench for leadership, great team now. But I think I could have accelerated the growth of the business and the success of the business by focusing my time. And leaders can't delegate. Entrepreneur leaders can't delegate that to anybody. On recruiting and getting the best possible people on the team. I think that's number one.
Absolutely.
I'd say number 2 is review your financials every single month. If you don't, then you're not really running a business. If you're not producing financials, then something's going to sneak up on you and get you, and it's not going to be good. And in the context of understanding and reviewing your financials, and you either know it or you don't. Profit is different from cash flow, and entrepreneurs need to understand the difference between profit and cash flow. They are distinct. You can be profitable and go out of business. There's so much to that. We could spend an entire podcast just talking about the nuances.
My inner CPA is loving that.
Yeah. In fact, I'm the chairman of the Opportunity Machine startup business incubator in Lafayette, and that's one of the anytime I'm in front of entrepreneurs, that's one of the things that I that I always talk about. It's like there's a difference, but you have to know your numbers. You have to care, and it's not really a business if you're not watching your numbers.
100%. And that is one of the main reasons why I wanted to become a CPA, was to help entrepreneurs go through that and understand the importance of that.
Because they don't, like, it's not fun. It's
No.
it's probably the least fun thing they'll do, but it's the most important thing they'll do to make sure that their business survives.
See, I think it's fun, so I disagree with you there.
I know. You're one of those. You're one of those, right?
Yeah, I do. I do personal financials for my wife and I every month in QuickBooks. Yes, I'm one of those weirdos.
Do you guys actually sit down and review them?
We do.
Really?
We do.
Yeah, you're the only one I know that does that.
It took her a year and a half before she started appreciating a balance sheet.
Yeah.
She was like, "Why are you sending me this?"
It's hard to understand a balance sheet until you do, and once you do, it's easy.
And she was, for the longest time, Patrick, don't send. I just want the P&L, how we did for the month. Just do not send me a balance sheet. I'm like, okay, no, we're gonna sit down and go through this so you understand.
So I'll give you a funny analogy though. My wife's has her own business. She's had it for over 15 years, and her company's called LogoJet, and they manufacture most of the printers that we use to print on golf balls. And I was a customer of LogoJet before.
I see a related party interest here.
We were a customer for many years before I asked her out on our first date. But we do talk about financials at home, just not our personal, not personal. Like I help her review her business financials.
Right.
And I've got a team. She has a team that helps too, but she just asked me to kind of
do a once over,
just a once over, because I've been doing it, looking at financials for a long time. You've probably looked at more than me though. You probably have.
I probably have not looked as long.
Not as for sure, not as long.
But a variety, lots of. But it's equally as important in your personal life as it is in your business life, especially as an entrepreneur.
It is.
Because if you're not paying attention to what you're spending on a personal level, and there comes a month where it's tight in the business and you got to pull from your personal assets, and you can't because there's nothing there because you've either not watched it and been careful, you can personally be upside down. And at that point, where are you going to go?
You can't out income expenses. If you don't watch your expenses, it can certainly get out of hand. And I'd say number 3 is say no a lot. And that is, it's so hard for a young entrepreneur to say no when a customer is willing to give them business, but it's not the right business, or it will take them down a tangent that takes them off of it. It's so easy for entrepreneurs to chase shiny objects. And even today, sometimes I chase shiny objects, and sometimes it works out. But we don't chase any shiny object. We chase a lot less shiny objects now than we used to. But saying no a lot, both in the lines of business that you'll pursue, how you will take type of business you will accept and not accept. Place a high value on your own time. A lot of entrepreneurs don't do that. And in your personal life, kind of find those things. Don't say yes because someone asks, right? Like I guard my time. Like I do my best to guard my free time so that I can spend it on my family, on the businesses, and on I'm on the lobby board of directors. I'm on their executive committee and Opportunity Machine, and that's it. Because you have to put up some limiters, and so I try to spend time where it's most impactful, and that means I say no an awful lot.
Right, and
people
so
don't understand
hard.
that. Not everybody understands that until you find yourself in a spot where you have to say no a lot, and then.
And I'm at that point where I've the last 2 or 3 years was like yes, and now 2023 is like the year of no for me, and it's like I just have to find the point where it's enough's enough, and you have to recognize we're all given 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
No more, no less, and you can choose how to spend them wisely, and sometimes saying no is that wise choice, and just saying can't do it, sorry.
20 no's for every one yes. Like like I don't know what
It's
the
a,
ratio.
it's a good number.
I don't know what the ratio is, but
But everybody's got a different ratio.
and everybody hates to say no.
Yeah, because it's
a no, and nobody likes it.
Yeah, and yes, ask your 5-year-old, and I'll ask my 15-month-old. They don't like no.
Yeah.
So, what is something you love about Louisiana?
The people and the culture, and most of the time the weather. Believe it or not, it's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to start a business in many ways. I was my wife's Canadian, and I was able to convince her to move from Canada to Louisiana, and she loves Louisiana. She moved her business here. She moved, we've got her mom here now, and so
You just didn't want to pay those import fees. I understand.
yeah, yep. but they love being in Louisiana. It's a fun, family friendly, generally speaking, pro business kind of a place to be. There's a lot of work yet to be done. We know that, and Lobby does a good job trying staying focused on that work. But it's a great place.
Absolutely. There's endless realms of potential within here that we can all do a little bit every day to make it a better place.
Yep.
So for the final question, Tom, what can I do to help you?
So before meeting you, number one, the fact that you love debate's a big deal. So anyway, I'll talk about golf a lot, please. I appreciate that. I would say one of the things that I'm most passionate about is helping entrepreneurs and trying to create, I would just say, heroes out of aspiring entrepreneurs. And I think you do that. I think you bring people on your show, and it showcases small businesses, large businesses, but every large business was a small business at some point in time. And I think entrepreneurship solves a lot of problems. It solves disparities. It creates motivation. It helps with potential paths for people. And I think if I can ask of you, just keep doing what you're doing and making heroes out of young aspiring entrepreneurs that can influence a whole generation of young people to consider that. When they're going through school, or when they have their own ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately one of the main reasons why I got started, was to find people that had great businesses, whether they were new or they had been around since the 90s, and just showcase them and say, these were all started here in Louisiana. There's no reason why your next business idea has to go to some big different city outside of our state to happen, because all these companies have happened here. And that's, somebody asked me, what are the requirements to get on the show? I said, well, they got to be a Louisiana-based business, and I've got to talk to the owner or the founder, because they're the ones that are going to share. Yeah, we had some times where Tom had to get in the pond and go get golf balls to sell, right? Like, they have those stories.
Figuratively, I've been in the pond many times. Many times.
I've taken my shoes off to get some golf balls out of the pond before.
Yep.
They were mine, but
maybe illegally, maybe not.
Who's to say, really?
Yeah.
But still, having those stories of how they got started, the difficulties they worked through, and recognizing the opportunities where they did, that's the ultimate best thing that people can learn from, is that storytelling and that passion that business owners and founders have.
And that anybody can do it. It's not easy. It takes work, but anybody can do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Tom, for coming on the show.
Awesome.
Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you for driving in to come here and sit down with us. I appreciate it.
You bet. Had a great time.
Good. I'm glad to hear. We'll have to debate a little bit and do some mock debates. So thank you, Tom, for coming, and thank you everybody else for watching the show, whether you are watching us, listening to us, seeing this on social media, whatever platform you're consuming us. I greatly appreciate it. I know the guests do as well. Next time you're in the mood for some golf gear, or maybe you're just curious to buy somebody a customized gift and they're a golfer or they just like golf attire, check out golfballs.com, not golfball.com, golfballs.com, and make sure to let them know that the Patty G Show sent you. So thank y'all so very much, and a big, wonderful shout out to the amazing sponsors that make the show each and every week. Hear a little bit more about them right now.
Sell your home for a $399 flat fee with Falaya. No, seriously. Falaya will list your home on the MLS and help you get all the way to the closing table for as little as a $399 flat fee. Our online platform is insanely easy to use and will save you thousands. If you're thinking about selling your home in 2022 and want to keep more of your hard-earned equity in your pocket, you need to check out Falaya. Falaya, real estate reimagined.
Thank you all so very much for listening to this episode of the Patty G Show, brought to you by Government Taco. They're located on the corner of Government Street and Jefferson Highway. Jay is always slinging up a new taco of the month, so if you're a frequenter to Government Taco, let us know in the comments what you thought about this month's taco of the month. If you're not a frequenter, maybe trying out this month's taco might just convert you. Big thanks over to them at Government Taco for making the Patty G Show possible.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left. But the time is now. Time to make progress and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
Thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge for making this show possible. Nick Pintus is a past guest. We love having him on. Listening to him talk about the culture they have over at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge is really an incredible thing to hear. How they treat not only their employees, but every customer that walks through the door. You are more than just a number to them. They're going to give you that white glove concierge service every step of the way. They're going to make you feel like family and take what can be a stressful time in people's life, shopping for a car. They're going to make it so enjoyable and so pleasurable. You're going to want to go back there time and time again for every new vehicle. Thank you so very much for Mercedes-Benz of making this show possible. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you. McClavy's Limited, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show, has been serving the Baton Rouge area proudly for 40-plus years. Gentlemen and ladies, if you're shopping for your man, there is no other place in the Baton Rouge area to get your clothing, whether it's game day needs, everyday needs, business attire, formal attire, whatever you want. Go over there, see Frank and Ashley. It's a father-daughter duo. They do incredible things in their store. They will outfit you from as simply a shirt that you need for one evening or all the way to a full wardrobe overhaul. They're going to take care of you every step of the way, and be sure and let them know that Patty G Show sent you.